and it's season 1. It's episode 8 of the 214 Sports and Everything in Between podcast. And just breaking a couple hours ago, it will be last night when you're watching this, but Urban Meyer has agreed to be the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Very interesting.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I mean, here's the thing, okay? So I dug into this a little bit and I kind of looked at Jacksonville's stats for last season. Total first downs, they had 310 total first downs. Third down conversions, 84 of 207. Fourth down conversions, 7 of 26. Total rushing yards, this is what was crazy to me. Total rushing yards, they only had a little bit over 1,500 rushing yards. Passing yards, they had almost 3,700 and 18 sacks. They had a negative 8 turnover ratio. So, I mean, my question is Urban Meyer the answer?
And I mean, if you just look back at all the places he's been, he's brought success everywhere he's been. The real question about Urban Meyer, to me, and I really think everybody else, is how committed is he going to be to staying in Jacksonville? Because if you look at his coaching history, it's 2 years here, 2 years here, 4 years there, 7 years there. And it's just interesting to me. And he'll always leave for some sort of, I want to spend more time with my family. Or when he left Florida and Ohio State, it was health issues that were his problem. But then he left Florida in 2010, and 2 years later he's at Ohio State, which you could argue is a more successful or a stressful job, also successful, but very, very weird to me that he would agree to do this.
Absolutely. I mean, you are right though. He does bring a lot of success with him, but I mean, the question is, there's the thing about like, there's a big difference between college football and the NFL, like a huge difference. You know, at the NFL, you could have subpar players, and they're just sticking around because, you know, hey, maybe they had a pretty good year this year, and the next year they fall off. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. For me, I honestly don't think that Urban Meyer is the answer. Maybe he is. Maybe he is, and he gets a pretty good draft class in there this year. But I honestly don't see him being a good hire for them.
Yeah, for the sake of the argument, there's a lot of people comparing this hire to when the Cowboys hired Jimmy Johnson and then brought in Troy Aikman. They had the number 1 overall pick as well. I believe that was Jimmy was there, and they were terrible that first year, and then they got Troy. But there's a lot of people comparing it to that. So, I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, it's just the Jaguars aren't a very successful franchise. But, I mean, the dude has 3 national championships under his belt, 2 at Florida, 1 at Ohio State. And you can't argue with he's a successful coach. The only argument you have is he going to be like Nick Saban was in the NFL and not be successful? Or is he going to flip the script for college coaches that go to the league and then do something?
I hope he does something, honestly. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that he does something. But like I said, I don't think he's the answer.
Yeah, and the Eagles are trying to find the answer too. And they put in a request to talk to Cowboys' newly extended offensive coordinator Kellen Moore today, which
So I did research on this, right? I did a lot of research on this, and NFL rules say that the Cowboys have to let him interview because it's considered a promotion. Yeah. So I thought that was I don't know, man. I'm a little scared, honestly.
They have to let him interview, but they don't have to let him he doesn't have to take it. And the thing is that Jerry is notorious for paying people that he paid Jason Garrett head coach money when he was offensive coordinator because he didn't want him to leave. He pays Will McClay GM money to be the president of football operations and be essentially a GM when he's got that title. So I'm not worried about him leaving. One thing I did find interesting through my research, I actually heard it on the ticket. So Doug Peterson only talked to one person since he's gotten fired, and that one person has been Troy Aikman. And he told Troy Aikman that he, in his meetings with management, talking about the vision of the team, he told them that Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. And if you know anything about contracts, the Eagles are committed to Carson Wentz $128 million for the next 5 years. So it's not like you can just be like, oh, he's not the answer anymore. I know we got him on the books, but so I found that very interesting that he got fired over. I mean, if that's the vision of their team, yeah, he deserves to be fired. But he just brought you a Super Bowl a couple years ago. He's got a statue outside your stadium.
Right. Are they going to take that down, do you think?
No way. They only have one
No
Super
way.
Bowl, so
Yeah. And going back to the whole Kellen Moore thing, there's some quotes that he, after he signed his 3-year extension, he said he's very excited to remain a Cowboy. He says that we're building something special here, and I'm very excited to put it all together and finish the job. So, maybe the thing is like, hey, we have a pretty good playoff run, and then at the end of his 3 years, he's like, hey, I've done what I can here, and it's time to move on to greener grass.
yeah.
So I don't know, man. Though I'm not. I think he's gonna. I hope he stays. I think he's gonna stay, but there's a lot of uncertainty. Just because the Eagles could throw a bunch of money at him, and he's just gonna be like,
Yeah, but I wouldn't try and get into a deeper pockets matchup with Jerry Jones if I
oh
was the
yeah,
Eagles. Especially, it's a division rival. Like, he's not just gonna go over there, and he was a Cowboy, so he knows the hatred for the Eagles, and he
right.
knows I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't care if it's all about money, but I don't know. I just don't see him leaving to go be in that disastrous. They're $51 million over the cap.
God.
It's just not looking good for him. They got a bunch of older guys that are like getting paid, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not a roster you can win with,
Right.
in my eyes.
No, he turned down Boise State, and hopefully he turns down the Eagles. If we're being honest, hopefully
He actually
does.
was going to accept the Boise job, but he was worried about the commitment of the university to the football team.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that on the ticket, but I mean, he still turned it down. So at the end of the day, he turned it
Yeah.
down. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Someone
I
that
don't know,
I
man.
wish we would have turned down to interview is Joe Witt Jr., our
Yeah.
new secondary coach, who
Um,
is another buddy hire for Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn now. So I don't like this, really. I don't like it.
no, it's definitely a very questionable move. Joe Witt Jr. So he played in Green Bay from '08 under McCarthy. He played at Green Bay from '08 to 18. And kind of the thing is like he was, I think in his last year, he became the defensive pass game coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So a very, very pretty long title there. And they allowed 200, they averaged about 234 and a half passing yards per game. That was their average of allowing. Like, they allowed that. So I don't, man, I don't see this as a good hire, because it's like this guy is used to just kind of being like, I wouldn't say he's used to it, like being subpar, but it's definitely like something that his track record shows.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's I'm not liking, of course, yeah, we like the Dan Quinn hire, but I'm not liking that McCarthy just keeps trying to bring in all the guys and essentially trying to do what we hate, that like recreating something that cannot be recreated. Like, yeah, you won a Super Bowl in Green Bay, but you're not going to recreate that whole like coaching staff here and win. Just like trying to rebuild the teams of the 90s. We've talked about this. Jerry is always trying to rebuild the teams in the 90s, and it's not built to, the NFL is not built to keep rebuilding on past successes, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, it does.
we're going to have to go outside the box if we want to win something.
The same offense that worked in the 90s and the 80s and the 90s is not going to work now. I mean, we're way past what was happening back then, and it's crazy to think like, I mean, I don't know, man. I completely agree with you. I don't think that people, like, I don't think that should be allowed. If I'm being honest, I don't think you should. I mean, I don't think you should be able to hire somebody based on them just being your friend, and based on your coaching history with them, especially if he's this bad. I mean, this guy is not good.
Yeah. But what are we gonna do? I guess we're gonna have to wait a couple weeks and see how it looks, man.
Well,
That's all we
and
can do.
and that's the thing, is the Cowboys don't pay us the big bucks to make these decisions. So
Oh yeah.
we're just here sitting here talking about it. So I don't know, man.
All we can do is
I
put
am
in our 2 cents.
I'm scared about this hire, honestly. It's
I agree.
definitely pretty scary to see.
I would have rather brought in somebody new that's never had a job in
Exactly.
in
Or
that sort of fashion.
bring up somebody from college. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Did you see that Jalen Hurts or not Jalen Hurts? Jalen Smith.
yeah. Wrist surgery.
Yeah. What's that about, dude?
I don't know. I saw something that said maybe it's because he was patting his back too much. I don't understand what that's about, but you know, most of these guys go and get surgeries. Like Amari Cooper, we talked about that, just getting a scope in his ankle, just something like that, just to get some cartilage out, some extra.
Yeah.
But I don't think
Well,
it's
I mean
anything to be worried about.
that's the second player that we've had that has been either been set or had surgery. I mean, right now he's set for surgery, and I don't know, man. It's pretty crazy.
I don't know, but what I do know is that we are halfway to giving away a jersey.
We're
We're at,
halfway.
we're at 20.
Hey,
We're
halfway
at
there.
20, but there is something that needs to be known by you guys who are subbing, and that is that you need to make your Google accounts public so we can see everybody's name, or at least your account, while we do the giveaway, because if we can't see your name, we can't get in contact with you, can't get you a jersey. So if you got first step, you got to watch this to know that, because there's
It's
a
true.
few of you, probably 4 or 5, that we can't see your name on YouTube, but go and get that changed. We're halfway there. We're getting there quick. I mean, I think we've gotten 10 subs in the last 2 days, so we're moving
It's
quick.
pretty good, man.
I
We're
know.
moving up.
I know. Big things are about to happen on this channel. Just got to dot some T's and dot some I's and cross some T's.
Shh.
And
Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
I'm not
Shh.
telling them.
Tell
I
him.
can tell them if I want to.
Just not yet. They're
I can
not
tell them if
ready.
I want to.
They're not ready.
They're ready.
They're not ready.
But yeah. So it's a short and sweet one tonight, guys. Not too much news coming out. But I think we're gonna have something nice on Saturday for you guys to watch on the weekend. But other than that, all I got. That's deuces to y'all.
That's
The
deuces.
214 squad.
We love you guys.
Catch you guys on the flippity flop.